so here we're going to talk about rigging our CFJs. That's the boat we use for practice and racing, so we're going to go through a video on how to rig it. So the first thing is, when you get to the dock, our boats will have our covers on them. You want to make sure you take these off before you do any of the rigging. So after you've taken the cover mostly off, you'll see that the main halyard is going to be tied to the cover. You want to make sure to not let go of either end. Once the main halyard comes out of this clam cleat, hold on to it. It does not go back there until you're done for the day and putting the cover on. Okay, so you're gonna untie the other side and make sure that you're not letting go of either end, because what can happen is the line can sky, which means one side will end up all the way at the top of the mast and we'll have to capsize the boat to undo it. So now the cover's off, everything's detached, you can pull the cover, hand it to someone to put away. You want it out of the way, not in the way of any of your rigging. Okay, so to ensure that this doesn't fly away, you want to do your mainsail first. So there's also stuff in the boat, so you'll want to make sure to get that as well, so you can hand it to some people around you. Don't just put it on the ground, especially our tillers. This is used for steering, we'll talk about more later. You want to make sure that these aren't damaged, they're not just laying on the dock. Okay, so if you don't have someone to help you with the main sail, just get the sails out. Just tie it really quick here, just real quick, okay? That's all you need to do. Next thing, so here's your sail. It's gonna be in this blue sail bag. What I'm holding right now are the jib sheets. We'll talk more about those in a minute. So to get the sails out, you're gonna reach in, grab the sails, and you'll have someone pull the bag aggressively. Boom, and the sails are out, easy peasy. First sail you wanna pull up is the main, so you don't lose your halyard, right? So after the main's out of the bag, just go back to holding it. Make sure at no point it's tangled. If it gets tangled, you have to redo the rigging. So we're gonna unroll our sails, and if you're like, oh, I need two hands and there's no one to help me, you can tie it back quickly. The smaller of your sail, which is gonna have this little window, is your jib. That's the sail that the crew controls. This is the main sail. If you're on the dock, you're gonna see the sails with the blue and the white. Some of our sails are just white, but it's a much bigger sail. So you're gonna undo your main halyard. You're gonna find out which way slides, because that's the side you're gonna use to hoist. On half of our boats, it's gonna have this little blue ball. Some of them you'll have to tie a knot, which we'll show you guys later how to do as well. So you're gonna take the side that can slide up, so you'll test it. Okay, I'll see, it's my side with the blue ball on it. You're gonna put it through like a little loop, take the blue ball, pull it through. Make sure it's on the side, not the top. You're gonna pull it tight, 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 make sure it's stuck in there, because if it comes out, it means your mainsail is gonna come down while you're sailing. Making sure it's nice and tight. Next what you're gonna do is, again, make sure nothing's tangled. Be behind the batten. The batten is this metal rod sticking out of the mast. You wanna make sure you're behind. If you're in front, you're gonna put pressure as you raise the main. So now you'll take the main, where it has like, it's like the harder side, it's called the slug. So it's gonna be the side that's not as flexible. It's gonna go inserting into the mast. You guys see this opening? It's gonna go in, and then you can start raising your main. And you can see it's a little twisted, so you can have someone help you twist it around and start raising. At the dock, you don't wanna raise it all the way. You just wanna raise it part way. Okay, so you can do this as you've raised the main or right before it, but you wanna do it after the cover's off. We tie our bow lines around our mast, which is this big metal pole that goes from the bottom to the top of the boat, around to protect it with the waves. This is our bow line. You just need to untie it before it goes in the water and just drop it in the boat. Okay, so as you've raised your main about halfway, do it depending on how windy it is. If it's super windy, you don't want to bring your main up too much. After you've done it, you're going to take the main halyard and you're going to cleat it off. So you're just going to cleat it temporarily just so the sail doesn't go anywhere. Just like that, and you can toss it in. You're going to need it later. Okay, so the next part is you're gonna take this guy, you're gonna take the bottom of your mainsail and you're gonna slide it into your boom. This is the big metal pole that's gonna be sticking out while you're sailing. So you're gonna slide it in, and again, it's the slug, the bottom part of your mainsail. You're gonna slide it in all the way down. And if it gets a little stuck, you can have someone help you out, or you can just come down here and just pull it. And there we go. So you can see your mainsail is completely attached to your boom. The only time you wouldn't do this if it's like really, really light wind, which we'll talk about later. Okay, so this is the jib sail. We have to attach it to our boat. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna go to where the forestay, which is this metal line, as well as where your bow line is, and you're gonna connect it to the boat. So this is called a pin and a ring ding. This is what's gonna hold the jib into the boat. So first thing you're gonna do is undo the ring ding and pin. Make sure to not drop these, especially we're over water with some of our boats, so please be super careful. So either have someone else hold them or be super, super careful. So you're gonna put this like metal slot of the jib in, and then you're gonna slide the pin through. You wanna make sure the pin goes through the sail so it's hooked in, and then you'll put the ring ding on. Just like that, see? Secure it in. Okay. All right, so you gotta raise your jib now, right? You need it up high to be sailing. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna undo the jib halyard, which is on the opposite side of the mast as the main halyards. That's most of the time when you're rigging the boat, you're gonna be leaning, or you will climb on the other side of where our boats are to get it done. So our jib halyard, it is tied to what is called the downhaul, or the Cunningham is the official name, okay? So in this boat, it's our pink line. This is what you're gonna clip your jib head to. So you're gonna first undo your Cunningham. Grab your jib halyard. Great, so now it's loose. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the jib, and what I wanna make sure is there's a part of the jib, right, that's a little less flexible. It has wire inside. This you want facing the forestay, which again is this wire in the front of the boat. You want that facing outwards. Now you're gonna go to the very tip ring again, and you're gonna undo it. So it's a clip, twist, open, pop your jib in, twist, and lock it. Make sure it's locked. Now that your jib's attached, you can raise it, so you're just gonna pull straight up. So you wanna make sure you're not tangled anywhere. And you're gonna raise your jib, and you can raise your jib all the way up at the dock. Okay, so when you're raising the jib, you're gonna see that pretty soon you'd be holding onto this metal wire. You don't wanna do that. What you're gonna do is there's a pulley on the bottom of the mast. So you're gonna see this pulley, and you're gonna take the end of your jib halyard, and you're gonna put it through the pulley, do it stern to bow, so that's back to front, okay? So you're gonna go through, make sure none of the other lines are tangled. You're gonna go through this pulley on the very, very bottom. And then you're gonna go back up. There's a pulley on top of the jib halyard. You're gonna pull it. So it's like a pulley system. So never at any point are you touching the wire. Okay, so after your jib's all the way up, we're gonna cleat it off just like we did with the main. So again, we'll practice cleating in meetings, and you'll have plenty of time at the dock to practice. So there's cleating off. So we gotta make sure before we go out the plugs are in the boat, or the boat will sink. So we gotta check 2 plugs. Okay, we're gonna call them our side plugs for now. All right, this is the most important one. Always at the end of practice, you take it out so water can drain out. And every practice before the boat goes in the water, make sure it's in. It's attached to a line. Okay, and you're gonna pull it through. You want the top of the, where you're gonna be twisting the plug, it should be on the outside of the boat, not the inside. And you're just gonna twist, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. And you're gonna tighten it. Make sure it's good and tight. We don't want that coming out. Okay, now that your main is about half up and your jib's all the way raised, it's time, and the plugs are in, it's time to get the boat in the water. This is a team effort, never do this alone. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have 2 people on this side, and we're gonna have 2 people climb on the other side of the boat. And you're gonna make sure people are holding the boat to hold it steady. And always step in the boat, do not step on the gunnel, which could break the boat. Okay. Okay, so now that the boat is in the water, as you guys saw as a team effort, now it's time to finish rigging, which requires you to put a life jacket on. Do not go in the boat without a life jacket on, ever. Okay, we all know you can swim. Let's not test it. Let's all be safe. Put a life jacket on. So to get in the boat, you can grab the shroud and always step right into the boat. Never step here. This could break the boat. This is hollow. So you're gonna step in. The boat's gonna be a little tilty. You wanna make sure the first thing you do is put down the centerboard. Centerboard is what's gonna help balance the boat, and it helps you if you were ever to capsize. So you're gonna get all the excess you can from the clam cleat right here. Pull it, and then you can just pull. May take a couple tries, pull. Then you're gonna take this bungee. It's gonna be red, blue, or black. And you're gonna loop it several times around the centerboard. You wanna hold the centerboard down. Centerboard stays down most of the time when you're sailing. When you're racing, there's some exceptions, but we'll talk about that. Alrighty, so now the centerboard's down, you're gonna raise the main all the way. So you wanna be facing forward for this process. This is where you might need someone's help. You're gonna uncleat it, and you're gonna start racing. Someone may have to put their hand where it's feeding in case it jumps out. It just depends. And as the sail goes up, you guys are gonna see that the boom starts to come up. Always watch your head, have someone holding that. Okay, so now I can see it's a little bit harder to pull up. So we're gonna do something similar we did with the jib. We're gonna create a pulley system. So you're gonna find the end of your halyard. And again, you're gonna go stern to bow, so back to front. And you're gonna put it through. And there's a ring or a pulley that's gonna be on the main halyard, okay? So you're gonna pull. The other thing is, as you're pulling up, if you're feeling tension, it might be the vang, this guy right here. You wanna make sure that it's completely relaxed, because if it has tension, the boom's gonna get stuck. It's not gonna wanna go. So make sure this is completely lax. And you're gonna go all the way up, and you're gonna have someone who's out far back look and see that the main's all the way up.
Wow. It's up.
So once you get confirmation that the mainsail is all the way up, you're gonna cleat it off like I showed you guys before. Make sure it's keeping that tension. You don't want the sail to come down. Okay, so cleat it off. Now that you know you're done with the main halyard, you're gonna tuck it so it's not in the way of your crew when you're sailing. So it's gonna go between the mast and the main halyard. So it's tucked away, out of the way, so you don't have to worry about it till it's time to derake.
Yay!
Okay, so now that your main's up, now we need to check our jib tension. That's gonna be important to ensure that you have the correct speed and ability while you're racing or out sailing. So the way to check that is to have someone up front. We have Miss Kai, she's gonna jiggle the jib. See, it's pretty loose, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna give it some tension. The way that's done is there's someone sitting in the boat pulling down, and there's someone up who's gonna be pulling on the forestay. We're gonna do it on the same count, and then she'll check the tension, and then you have to cleat off holding the tension. 3, 2, 1, go ahead and go. Can you jiggle the jib for me? For now. And then make sure you're keeping that tension. Do not let them let go until you've cleated off. Okay, I've cleated off. And then they can let go. And now the jib has a little more tension. Then again, now that we're done with our jib, tuck it. Just like we did with the main halyard. You can always adjust jib tension while you're on the water, which we'll talk about in a meeting, or there's many videos online about it.
So when doing jib tension, an important thing to remember is we do not want to put our foot on the hull. Can you show the incorrect way? That's not good. Don't do that. We want it on the tip of the boat as you're pulling back.
So now we're gonna get our last little bit of line to get our mainsail to make sure you're getting the best trim. So the Cunningham, or also known as the downhaul, helps with tension and forming the shape on the bottom of your mainsail. So you're gonna take your Cunningham, and you're gonna put it through the top hole, just the hole in the sail, and you're gonna pull down, and it's gonna go through the clam cleat on the other side of the mast. It might take a little bit of wiggling to get it through. Once you have it through, put a little bit of tension on. See how I'm forcing a shape in the bottom of my sail? If it's looser, there's no tension. Made some shape. So then what you do is you want to make just a stopper knot as close to the clam cleat as possible. So this is the outhaul. This is going to help keep the sail from sliding up, right? You don't want to do that because watch, my boom just dropped. Pull it out, my boom is up high, and I have control of my mainsail. So you're going to take the outhaul, put it through the eye at the bottom. It's this ring here. Make sure you have control of the boom because you are standing in the boat. You're going to go through a pulley that's on the other side. Make sure it's all straight. There's no knots. See how I can pull it down? Now in most FJs, you're just going to bring it right up to a clam cleat near the mast. For our FJ specifically, you need to be able to put it through these 2 pulleys over here. Because our outhaul is not, the line needs to be replaced. So until that's replaced, you guys make sure to put it through here. Most of the time in regular FJs, it just goes across. But unfortunately in ours, with how the rigging is, we have to go above where our main sheets are. Okay, just like that. And then there's a clam cleat, and same thing as the Cunningham. You want to make sure you get it through the clam cleat and tie a knot as closely as possible so it doesn't come out. As the crew, you're going to be controlling the jib sail. As you do that, you're going to be using this line. It's called the jib sheet. You're going to put it through this pulley here. So you're going to put through, and it should make the clicking noise as you pull it through. If it doesn't, come get me or one of the officers will explain why it's not doing that. And you're just going to do a barrel knot just so it stays. There we go. So what you can do now is you can trim your jib sail. My jib sail is going to go where I want it to. And you're going to do that for both sides. So always make sure you're staying low in the boat because your boom is swinging around. It is a giant metal pole. It could hurt you. So what you can do is you can have someone on the dock hold it for you while you do this last bit of rigging, which is putting the steering mechanisms in the boat. If you're not a skipper, you should not be touching these because we want to make sure they stay safe. We don't want any damage to happen to them, so we just want our skippers, the ones who will be steering the boat, to have them. So you'll have someone hand you a rudder. This is the rudder. This goes in the water. This is what's going to steer your boat. So what you're going to do is, as you skipper, you would put it on. You want to make sure both the bottom and the top go through. And sometimes your rudder will be straight down or it'll pop up kind of straight outward, kind of like a fin. Okay, so it's on. You want to make sure you never ever let go of the rudder because it could pop off and go in the water. So once you have a hand on it, grab the tiller from someone. This is what you use to steer. There's the tiller and the tiller extension. Tiller extension is what you should be holding as you're steering. The tiller is what's going to go inside the rudder. Now the tiller should be sticking out just the butt end of it outside the rudder. That's how you know. The rudder's all the way down. There you go. Steering is on. Now you're going to take the end of the rudder and you're going to attach it to the tiller. Same thing with the clam cleats. It's going to go against. Make sure it's secure. And some of ours have clam cleats on both sides. So you can wrap it a couple times and then put it through and then tie it off. If it just has one, wrap it a couple times and then tie it. So it's through. And again, I want to make sure it's tight. I'm going to make sure my rudder's all the way down and in the water so I have full steering. Then just do a little stopper knot. Now the boat's ready to go, everything's rigged, you guys can get set. So the skipper is the one who's going to be steering the boat and controlling the main sail with the main sheets. The crew will be controlling the jib sheet. So now as we get ready to go, we're going to show how we tie our bow line to our boat to ensure that it's safe while we're sailing.
Are you ready to be untied?
Yes.
That was the worst.
So this will be tied above the vang and then in between the sheets. Then we'll just wrap it around and push it through. And that should stay.